One, mic check, mic check. Welcome to the Second Half Podcast. I'm your host, Jabari Saunders, and I'm excited for episode 2. This is my dude, my guy, my man. Been a fan of his since he has been playing on and off the field, but additionally, been able to see the progression and the journey that he has been on post-career. So without further ado, welcome my dude, Dennis Dixon. What's up, Tim?
How you doing, Jabari? Good to see you, big guy.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. Really, really thankful for you being on this podcast, man. I think, you have a journey and a story that many individuals need to hear. And it's important for people to understand what you were able to do on the field. There's so many learnings, so many keys, some takeaways from it, and how you're able to leverage the learnings that you had even then to what you're doing now. So really excited, man. Let's get this thing started. So let's get to the root of it, man. Where did the story begin for Dennis? Where you from?
Oh, yeah. I'm originally from the Bay Area, Oakland, California, to be exact. So, yeah, Bay Area, born and raised.
Born and raised. Okay, out there, West Coast, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing but sunshine. So tell me a little bit about, how you grew up. Like, what was that family dynamic and the social interaction around the city?
Oh, yeah. Oakland, California, it can be somewhat rough areas depending on where you stay and who you associate yourself with. But my family dynamic was amazing. My mom was more of the education side. My dad was more of the sports side. So I had a great balance. They kept me busy at all times. My dad had baseball, football, and basketball. So, after school activities, I'm always at some type of sport.
Right.
If I'm not at any type of sport, I'm always at someone's library, accommodating, making sure that I make my mom happy and proud.
Right.
The family dynamic was amazing. I am grateful to be able to have that because a lot of people didn't have that up in my upbringing. So I didn't take that for granted whatsoever. So having that balance was amazing for me.
Love it, man. That's awesome. I think it's something strong about having the strong family foundation behind you, really supports you and really drive that energy. And of course, mom's always going to be the one to crack the whip along with dad, which is always great, to make sure that, you take handling what's the business in the classroom as well as on the field. So I love that, man. So you mentioned something there that you spoke on, you played 3-sport athlete. Like how did you choose which one? When did you fall in love with the main sport? What was that like for you?
Okay, that was kind of tough. I think I enjoyed all of them in high school, to be honest. I was just an overall athlete.
Right.
I always wanted to get better in what I was doing. I was competitive as crazy. But as I got, high school, I started to see football and baseball kind of really see my future. Okay. I'm somewhat tall. I'm 6'4", but when you talk about 6'4" for basketball, that's like a point guard. I'm not what's your point guard type stat.
No, you weren't handling the rock.
Yeah, I saw the writing on the wall for that one.
Okay.
I'm just playing because I'm really good at it, but I saw football and baseball kind of really see the future that I really wanted. I really wanted to follow the footsteps of my dad. He played baseball.
Okay.
He made it to semi-pro. But he broke his ankle and kind of put his career at that point. So I always wanted to have baseball. I wanted to follow the footsteps of my dad. A great role model in regards to that. Football was just something that I was really good at as well. To be honest, a lot of people may not know, but I didn't start off as a quarterback. I didn't. I was a receiver.
Okay.
How that came about, it was one day I was running a lot of go routes. Kind of tired. I'm really long and lanky but fast.
Right.
I run one go route and I outrun my quarterback maybe 4 or 5 times. I say maybe the 4th time, Jabari, I was upset and I threw the ball as far as I could and I'm like, I can't take it no more. And right then and there, the head coach was like, "Hey, can you do that again?" And I never looked back.
Really?
I've been a quarterback ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of how that kind of surfaced. And I always pride myself on having a big arm, being that I play baseball and I play right field.
Right.
No, baseball, the right fielder usually always have the cannon. So I always pride myself on that. It's just a different ball. But I adjusted as it came. So I had to say overall, baseball and football was definitely
Those
for
are the
my future.
ones. There you go.
Right.
I love it. I love it, man. You know, I want to dive in a little bit to that because I think in this atmosphere right now, a lot of kids are very singled out on one sport in particular, especially at that young age in high school. For you, what was that like growing up? Like, is it the same kind of training regimen? Is it, different ways that you have to train even when you were in high school, or were you just strictly focused on just whatever the sport was, that's what I was going to do and just use that athletic advantage that I had?
I think the thing that I really encourage for obviously the younger generation and all that is associate yourself with some of the best in your sport, regardless if that's in your community, whether that's like in a different state. I went to a lot of camps when I was a
Okay.
little kid. Always wanted to center myself around the best and see what I can bring to the table
All right.
and see what I can take away from them. Baseball and football,
Okay.
particularly in football. Baseball, I was definitely very talented in regards to that, but football, that was something very new to me. But I always wanted to center myself around the best, the California people, the Miami people, the
Yep.
Texas people.
Right.
You talk about those are the grassroots of just big time football.
Right.
So I really encourage some of the youth to really take full advantage of camps, individual training, just to kind of really get that one up on
Yep.
your competition.
Love that, man. I think that's extremely important. Understanding where one you said was where your competition is, right? Knowing where it is, identifying what that is, and approaching the sport how you want to approach it. If you want to be the best, you got to go in there and suit up and know
Yeah,
where the competition is and get out there and go after it. Like, go get what you
exactly.
want, you know? Um,
But
you,
yeah,
one of the things that I definitely heard from you, you said is like, it seemed like, yes, you had that support system from your mom and your dad, but more importantly, it sounded like were one of them one of your mentors as well as you approached the game?
yeah, I would say my dad mostly. When it came to sport, when it came to baseball, I mean, he pretty much gave me the blueprint as a young kid. He put that ball in my hand when I was young. So as I developed, my expertise, it came from him.
Yep.
Once it came from him, it just kind of generated into some of these camps and some of these little things that I was invited to, and
Right.
I learned a lot, a lot, a lot. When it came down to football, it was just around just my friends, the people that I kind of really looked up to, and
Yep.
always wanted to be uh, like I say Randall Cunningham. He was
Mm.
long and lanky.
Right.
I pride myself being someone like that.
Man, Houston
Um,
Oiler.
they looked up to, I really looked up to someone like Vince Young.
Mm.
He's a little older than me too. I always loved how he played the game. So
Yeah.
a lot of film study in regards to that, and seeing how he moved and how he gelled with his team and just his community. I
Yep.
wanted to do that.
Nice, nice, nice. So obviously you were one of the highly touted, athletes coming out of, Oakland, out in the Bay Area. What was that like? What was that process like? You hear some different stories, but like, what was that for you?
It was good, to be honest. A lot of people, like you say, are one sport athletes, right? And I pride myself on being that next Dion, that next Bo Jackson. I could do
Right.
it both if I wanted to, if I put my mind to it. I actually got drafted in baseball in my junior year in high school. But like I said, I got to make sure that I take care of my mom, making sure that she happy.
Right.
So I decided to not go. But the thing about baseball is you get drafted a second time your junior year in college. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and bank on that. I kept my scouting agent
Okay.
with me throughout my whole college career because I knew that I really wanted to have another opportunity to shine in baseball.
Yep.
So I did not play professional going out of high school. I could have done that, but I wanted to satisfy both family members, my mom and my dad. So I
Got you.
did not do that. So it was a good experience for me, knowing that I could have been a professional right away. All I wanted to be was a professional Jabari, to be honest,
Yep.
whether it was football or baseball. And my dream came true faster than what I thought. But I had to put that on hold because for the greater good, to be honest.
Yep. Yeah.
But that whole process for me was amazing, knowing that I could have went pro early, but decided not to do that, making sure that my studies was taken care of,
Yep.
and the studies kind of trickled down to football. That's what kind of got me my scholarship free. Did not want my parents to kind of pay for anything moving forward. So
Right.
it's hand in hand.
That's awesome, man. It's always a blessing to be able to take care of your family at the same time, make sure that education is paid for. And that's, ultimately what we strive to do, especially growing up, because that's the only thing we know, is to play the game and make sure you take care of your family and the people around you as best as possible. I love it, man. So, of course, drafted out of high school, obviously you didn't continue to play. Who were you drafted by the way?
I was drafted by the Cincinnati Reds in
Okay.
the 30th round. 50 rounds in baseball,
Right.
in the 30th round. So I was like, that's a little bit too high.
Right.
Like, I wanted to be, rounds 1 through 5 if I could.
Got you.
I knew I could fit a lot more forward my junior year in college.
Got you. And so as that was taking place on a professional realm in baseball, who were the top schools that were recruiting you at the time to get out to go play football?
Yeah. Football, some of the big fish out there, to be honest. I really wanted to play for the Pac-10. Pac-10 was the Pac-12 now.
12 now, right?
Pac-10 back. Always wanted to stay on this side,
Okay.
West Coast, Didn't want to go on the East Coast and play for the Floridas or the Georgias and all that. They were calling, but I wanted to stay close to home because my mom was battling cancer at the time, breast cancer, so I didn't want to go away from home too far.
Right.
The ones that were kind of really striking my eye was UCLA and Arizona State. From a baseball standpoint, and obviously from a football standpoint too. But if I had to, hello.
Yep. I'm here.
Okay. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm sorry. So so, but if I had to position baseball and football, baseball was first, and then football.
Oh wow.
At a young age, for sure. Transitioning from high school to college, I would have said baseball, then football.
Okay. I got you. Interesting. So did your training regimen kind of stay the same once you got to college, or was it a bit more rigorous in that world?
Oh, it stayed the same for the most part, but I had to get bigger. I had to get bigger and faster because when you transition from high school to college, it's some grown men out there.
Right.
You talk about the regimen, in the gym, I had to be able to change and adjust.
Right.
But overall, everything other than that, it was pretty much the same.
Got you. Well, tell me this: when was it that you realized that you had game, like that you could just ball out, like when nobody touching you on the field? Like when was that moment that you was like, "Hey, I can really do this. Like I am a pro."
Man, I'd say in my high school days, I was 36-3. I lost 3 games in high school. I lost in the championship game to De La Salle. For those who do not know, De La Salle was on the win streak for like 13 years.
Right.
Never lost around that time. So
I'm all the way in Joliet in Chicago, and I'm hearing about De La Salle out there. I'm like, oh, they really doing something out there, huh?
Absolutely. It was no winning against them back in the day. It wasn't even close either, Jabari. Like my championship games was like 10 to like 45.
Wow.
Or 50 plus. It wasn't even close.
Wasn't nothing you could do, huh?
Yeah, nothing I can do. But that's when I knew that I can ball, when I got obviously a lot of good praise and a lot of good compliments from that program alone right there. I knew that I could definitely, play this game at the next level.
Right.
That's kind of.
Got you. So you ended up taking the talents. You went to Oregon. You ended up being a Duck. Obviously, the recruiting process. A lot of people know that school is having the best of the best uniforms. Was that something that influenced your decision to go there, or do you have something else in mind?
Well, let me go ahead and break that down. So I really wanted to go to UCLA. UCLA at the time had a great baseball program. And football, like I say, that was pretty much secondary for me. But they were willing to give me a scholarship, which was amazing for me. But the week of signing day, the head coach of the football team got fired, so they ended up getting something else, and that kind of blew my whole plan. When they brought in another guy, his name was Carl Durrell. He said that he will no longer want any other quarterbacks. He was satisfied with what he had. Blew my chances. I was crushed. rush, but I knew that I still wanted to stay in the Pac-10. And the ones that I visited only was UCLA, SC, and Oregon, and UW to Washington. But at the time, Oregon did not have a baseball team,
Oh,
Jabari. So it was like,
wow.
man, what's going on? And the reason why I chose Oregon too is because I have family members out here. My dad has two brothers
Okay.
that lives out here, so it was like a second home. And as I mentioned, I didn't want to go too far away from home and family, seeing that my mom was battling breast cancer too. So
Yep.
when getting home and getting homesick, I knew that I could go to my uncle's house and be just fine.
Yep.
That was one reason why I chose Oregon. Another reason why, because at the time, Oregon was not a football team, a football program. It was more of a basketball program.
Yep.
Uh, and I wanted to switch the narrative a lot. I wanted to follow the footsteps of Keely Smith. I see that he's done it, and I really wanted to follow his footsteps, if not better.
Yep.
And that was another reason why I went there, because of him as well.
I love it. You got to make the best decision for yourself. And it sounds as if you're a very strong family-oriented person. So, of course, you want to keep that environment around you, because that just kind of seems to drive you, which I love to hear. Man, so Oregon, step foot on campus, first day. What was it like for you? Did you have some overwhelming, did you have some angst to you? Or were you nervous, or were you just like, hey, I'm out here, let's go?
I was really culture shocked, to be honest, Jabari. Coming from, I'm a city boy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And go to a small town of Eugene, Oregon. Nothing there. No sports related. Like, we are the sport. Like, we are the professional sport. We are everything. So, it was definitely eye opening. They welcomed me with open arms. Each sport is almost like their professional team. Every game is like a Super Bowl to them. The community was amazing. It really was. From the time that I was there to the time that I left, forever grateful for that. But yeah, like you say, I was excited, determined to get started, see what this whole transition between high school and football was, and it was definitely a culture shock. Like the gym aspect was the one that really opened my eyes. Like, man, like lifting weights and all that, that was definitely uncharted waters for me. But I was excited to kind of learn and learn from the best.
Okay, love that, man. What were some of your memories that really helped out your success when you look back at where you were at in Oregon and on the field or off the field? Like, what were those successes that you had, man?
I say out of all the success, obviously on the field is going to speak for itself, but I have to say my time at the University of Oregon, the best memory that I have is graduating 3.5 years as opposed to 4 or 5.
Yep.
Like I say, I lost my mom going into college.
Wow.
And it was a tough transition for me, but I knew, like always in high school, like she was always my rock when you talk about education. So I dedicated my whole college career to my mom. I was super dedicated. I never went home during the summer. I took summer classes to make sure that I graduated fast and efficient. Graduated with a 3.5. So I'd say that's pretty much one of my biggest accomplishments and memories at the.
Absolutely. I mean, to have lost your mother and then transition to be literally have the reins. Like, you're the quarterback. You know everything that you have to do. You know your offensive linemen. Like, tell me a little bit about what that mental, both on and off the field, was as you transitioned, knowing that your mom had passed.
Yeah, it was definitely tough. I had a good support system. I think one of the things that really, hit home for me is that I had to be even killed. A quarterback, you can't really show your emotions on your sleeve like that, whether it's too high or whether it's too low.
Right.
Everybody's looking for you for the energy, and I had to provide that on a daily basis. So I had to carry a lot on my shoulders, and I was willing to do that. I was definitely willing to do that, and I knew that I had strength, not only for me, but my mom was looking from above too. So I know that the man upstairs, he wouldn't put me into something that I could not accomplish. So it would be type of adversity, some type of shortcoming and overcoming, but I will always come on the other side.
Love that, man. I know that you definitely been on your journey in your life with a lot of perseverance and really just working through all the challenges, even as you were playing. Like I think I remember us having a conversation just a while back. Like you actually had a few different injuries as well. Like not only like you had a few different setbacks. Like tell me a little bit about like what that was like and how you were able to endure a little bit of that.
Yeah, that is tough. I think one of the biggest injuries I had was tearing my ACL my senior year in college.
Yep.
My senior year was rolling. I was
Right.
definitely rolling the Heisman. I was front runner. I was 150 ahead of the one behind me, which was Tim Tebow.
Yep.
And I had 3 weeks left, Jabari. 3 weeks left, and I tear my ACL.
Man.
It was tough for me because before that, at the end of my junior year, as I mentioned, I can get drafted again in baseball.
Yep.
So I ended up going for a tryout at the end of my junior year, and I ended up getting drafted by the Atlanta Braves
This dude got
in the fifth
drafted
round.
twice.
In the fifth, so I went to go and play my dream and all that, play little single A and double A.
Yep.
But then I came back from my senior year in football. The thing about the Atlanta Braves is that you can leave and come back where you left off, which was
Wow.
amazing.
Okay.
That's what I really wanted to do. So I had that in my back pocket. Boom. And I wanted to just kind of really finish my whole football career. And
Yep.
like I say, I graduated early, so I could have left. Like
Right.
I would have been, but I wanted to kind of do my due diligence and had a lot of friends that I did not want to let down on the team. So I wanted to kind of really finish it all the way through. Like I said, I got love for the highs and everything was clicking on all cylinders. Like man, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Right. Right.
Like I got drafted. I'm fulfilling my dreams on just being a professional, amateur professional, in baseball in the fifth round. Like I really wanted 1 through 5, and now I am up for one of the most prestigious awards in
Right.
college football. What it's all about. But then I tear my ACL, and that kind of really put me in a downward spiral for a little bit. But
Yeah.
like I say, by me graduating so early, Jabari, my whole senior year, I got hurt in November. The draft was in April. I ended up coming back for a pro day in March. And ACLs take anywhere from about a year to be comfortable. I
Right.
was so dedicated. I rehabbed 3 times a day with the best facilities out there at the University of Oregon. I took
Yep.
full advantage of that.
Of course.
Graduated early, and kind of got me an opportunity to kind of really get drafted in football.
Yep.
And guess what? I got drafted
Like
in that too.
my man got
In
drafted
the
three
fifth
times.
round. In the
Twice
fifth
in baseball, once in football.
round.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So if I have a little bump,
Yep.
you know, man upstairs blessed me with something else. He said,
Absolutely.
"Hey, you can't have the prestige award in college, but you left your print.
Yep.
But now it's on to the next. He blessed me with an opportunity to play professional football too. So
Man, that's such a blessing, man. Like, can't nobody like to fathom you get drafted 3 times, twice in baseball and once in football, and these are the sports that you grew up loving. Like that was your heart, and yet you set out a goal and say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing." So, man, that's so dope. I know your mother is super proud of you. I know the family's super proud of you to just
yeah.
understand your journey. Like that's crazy. I've never
Mm-hmm.
met anybody who's had that story to where they've been drafted that many times. Crazy.
That many,
I'm about to say
that
maybe
many.
what Dion? Maybe Dion
Yeah,
said it? Maybe
I,
like
yeah,
so that's
I never
crazy.
thought of yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go do some research and understand that, man. But no, here I mean, dude, I remember watching you being a Heisman Trophy candidate. Like you legit had it. Had the ACL not happen. But tell man, what was your most memorable game playing for the University of Oregon?
My most memorable, I think everyone is going to definitely get to that. I say playing against Michigan in the Big
Mm,
House. That's probably one of the biggest games and one of the most exciting games too.
Wow.
We were definitely underdogs. They lost their game opener against Appalachian State that year,
Oh
and
wow, Rich
here we
Rodriguez
come.
year and
Yeah, and here we come. You know, the overall overdogs. I'm playing in front of 110,000. Like it was amazing. It really was. And
yeah.
I think one of the most memorable plays in that game was called the Statue of Liberty.
Mm,
A lot of people do it in practice, but we did it twice in the game and succeeded.
so
Like it was
disrespectful.
like my one of my most memorable plays at the University of Oregon.
So disrespectful. How you ran the Statue of Liberty twice
So
in front of 110 plus
in the big house.
in the big house. Oh,
Yeah.
My Michigan homies probably pissed right now, but
Oh,
no, it's all love. I love it. I love it. Man, so all right, man, before we actually get into the second half, we're gonna do something I like to do. It's called a 30-second timeout. So we're gonna get to know you a little bit better. Just give me your quick answers, just off the top of the dome. Don't even really think about it, but yeah, man, let's get right to it. Give me your favorite artist you can listen to for the rest of your life.
Jay-Z for sure. That's timeless for me.
Absolutely.
I say Drake. I say those two right there. I
Okay.
mean, I can't go
There you go, Jay-Z and Drake. All right. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
breakfast all day.
Mm. Who was the toughest college or high school players you played against in each sport? Could be teams.
Toughest high school or college.
Yeah.
I just say from a team standpoint, at USC in college for sure, and obviously De La Salle in high.
That sounds like that. Who is your most memorable athlete that you played against?
Troy Polamalu, hands down.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
When every practice, and I don't know how many picks I threw to him in practice.
Just everything went to him. He was a magnet, huh?
Magnet.
Favorite game shoes to play in?
Vapors.
Okay. Skittles or gummy bears?
Gummy bears.
All right. Favorite place to travel?
Ooh. Barcelona.
Okay. What else I got? Do we do favorite? We didn't. What's your favorite team you've played for?
Favorite team that I played for? I'd say Pittsburgh Steelers. Good 4 years there.
Okay.
Amazing.
All right. And the last one. What is one dish that you can eat for the rest of your life?
Seafood, crab, all day.
My man stays with the crab. Always want some seafood. Oh, man. No, appreciate you. That's a 30-second timeout, man. So let's go ahead and dive into, what's next, man. Let's talk about where that actually took you to. So after college, you ended up transitioning into the professional world, right? And so you took yourself and you were drafted in football by the Pittsburgh Steelers. What was that like? Family, experience, draft day. Take me through that.
I am fulfilling my dream, and I'm living it. Like, it was so surreal, Jabari. Like, to get drafted, to hear my name called, all of that. On draft day, I got that call from Mike Tomlin. My family was there. He was in Eugene at my house at the time.
Okay.
It was an amazing moment. It really was. It was everything that I really wanted and more. To get drafted in the 5th round in both sports, that's why I wear number 10 to this day. Because it's just magical. It's just huge. But it was amazing. And to put the icing on the cake, my first year wasn't like anyone else's first year. My first year, I went to the Super Bowl and won. Like, that is crazy. That is beyond crazy.
Like,
I never questioned the man upstairs because I could have had the most prestigious award in college, but he blessed me with a Super Bowl ring the following year. Man. Come on, man. Don't get no better than that.
No better than that. Exactly. So first year you get a Super Bowl ring. You're playing, which, we just possibly saw his last game behind Ben Roethlisberger. How did you weren't somebody who was just sitting on the sideline, staying warm under the coat. Like you got action. Like tell me what that
Yeah,
was like.
yeah, that was that was amazing too. You know, being got something. I figured exactly what it was, but that gave me an opportunity to play 3 games. Um, and I flourished. I think I won 2 out of the 3. I got hurt my 3rd game, but it was great. It was everything that I imagined. Just playing football, something that I absolutely love. Getting so much support from close friends, new friends, all that. It was amazing. Like I said, a great 4 years there because we did some magic in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Not only did we go to for one time, we went twice, Jabari, but we lost one. No, we
Right.
went twice.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's dope, man. So you were able to see a Super Bowl, reach the ultimate trophy in the NFL, to be able to make that come to life. You get the ring, you go on and continue playing. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Like, how do you,
oh,
you know what I mean? Like, you were at the top of the level at the NCAA, and then you go on, get drafted, and then you hit that pinnacle as well. Like, how do you?
it gets better, Jabari. It gets better.
All right, let's talk about it.
It gets better.
Let's talk about it.
Just when I thought it could not get better. Like I say, I played 7 years in the NFL. I played 4 in Pittsburgh. I played 1 in Baltimore. Uh, I played a little bit in Philly and a year in Buffalo
Okay.
and a half a year in Arizona to finish it out. So, as I mentioned, like 4 years in Pittsburgh, my first year went to the Super Bowl, won. 2010, we went to the Super Bowl, lost to the Green Bay Packers.
Man.
And then in 2012, now I'm playing for the Baltimore Ravens. We go to the Super Bowl. I win.
Yo, you got
So
another one.
I'm like another Super Bowl, Jabari. So I felt like every other year I was going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, I can get used to this.
Exactly. You got real comfortable.
Every other year, it's like I got action. Like already got action. But that's how things can kind of get better. It's all about timing and opportunity.
Yep.
To talk about professional level too. Some things are somewhat out of your hands sometimes. They got so much money and invested on so many certain players. Some people
Yeah.
got more 9 lives than others.
Yep.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But it was definitely timing. The grace of God put me in the right position at the right time. It gave me an opportunity to live my dream and more. To, like you said, to get to the pinnacle level of the sport and win 2 out of the 3.
Yep.
That's a good day at the office for me. So
Absolutely.
whole sports background and resume. I can definitely put mine up there with a lot of people, and that's no brag. It's just a lot of hard work and dedication on my end.
Absolutely. No, it sounds like it. Like you really went in on it. Tell me a little bit about, obviously your transition, from being that student athlete, right? You're really focused on the sport, but luckily you kind of had a little bit of early advantage in just understanding what else took place on the side. Now you transition again into a professional field. That's business, as you said. Like some people got 9 lives. You're dealing with more of depth charts and money based and who's more expensive or less expensive to make it. Like, how did you even keep yourself together as those things were happening? Whether it's an agent that's having conversation for you, like how did you keep your composure through that journey?
It was definitely tough. It was a hard battle. You got to be able to work when no one is looking, and obviously be prepared when your opportunity comes because you will play away. It's always the injury away. You always got to prepare yourself, especially being a quarterback.
Yep.
You play away, so you got to be professional. I think throughout my whole professional journey, how it started off was with Ben Roethlisberger, as you say, being a backup to him, alongside with Charlie Batch. I have to say Charlie Batch is probably one of my best mentors to this day. It still is. On and off the field, he taught me how to be a professional. I didn't really know the whole plethora of it on the field.
Yep.
He showed me what that was like. Staying in the film room, showing up early, staying late type mentality. and then off the field, making sure that you're around the community as much as possible. He's from Pittsburgh, so I just followed his footsteps.
Yep.
He gave a blueprint on how to kind of really be successful, and how you can be able to have that longevity in the field, because we all know NFL doesn't stand for the National Football League. It stands for not
Not
for
for
long.
long. Not for long.
Not
Exactly.
so how can you be able to, make that ride? And, by me doing 7 years, now I got my pension and I got two Super Bowls to follow it too. So I had to say, all in all, like, he showed me the way to how to do it, and I'm forever grateful for that.
Man, that's awesome. Like I feel like Charlie Batch is a name that you don't necessarily hear as much. I remember hearing him a lot when he was obviously when you guys were all at Pittsburgh together, but it seemed like you guys had like a nice family, a nice brotherhood to just kind of lean into and had that support system, which is it sounds like that's what's needed at that next level, just as much as you did when you were in college and high school.
That's exactly what you need. Like you say, it's a job at the end of the day. And what people may not realize is that, like, but behind closed doors or behind the film, like, you don't really see a lot of the grunt work that's being taken place in camp and all of that. We got to understand that it's still a fun game to play, but you trying to steal someone's food off someone's
Yep.
table.
Yep.
We got family to provide for and all of that. We battling for 53 positions.
Yep.
And we go into camp with almost 80 plus players and all that. We're fighting for 53 positions on the actual football field, all 32 teams. So it's like it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm in the trenches. When you get that opportunity and you're blessed to be on a team, you don't take it for granted. And when you have an opportunity to kind of really showcase your skills, you give it 110% all the time.
Got you, man. I love that, man. Man, so let's go on ahead and transition into the second half of your journey. Like, when did you realize it was time to put the cleats up, man?
When I started bouncing from team to team, I think once I went to Buffalo, didn't really get a strong opportunity there, and then shortly after that, I went to Arizona because at the time, Carson Palmer was on the team and he got hurt, so I was almost like a field until he came back.
Yep.
So I was literally maybe like a month, and I had to leave right away and cut. But football wasn't fun anymore. It's like you say, it's business, and some things are out of your hands. And when you don't have an opportunity to showcase what you can be able to provide, that's when I knew that it was kind of really time to turn the page for me.
Yep.
And turn the page, it was a lot easier of a transition for me because I was proactive when I was playing.
Yep.
In the off season of every season in 7 years, I came back to Portland and trained at the best facilities and everything. And by Portland having the headquarters of Nike, and me having a good relationship with Phil Knight in my back pocket when I was playing in college, I had to make sure that I was proactive, making sure that I was around. And I shadowed a lot of people on what a corporate life and what a corporate job was all about, because I've never had a corporate job like that.
Right.
And I really want to know exactly what that was. So I took full advantage of that for 7 years, and throughout those 7 years, I gained a lot of good relationships, a lot of good rapport, a lot of people at Nike, at WHQ. And when that transition came, I leaned on those connections and gave me an opportunity to go into my next phase, which is, we're working the corporate life.
Yep.
Working at Nike.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it, man. And tell me a little bit about what, that looked like for you. As you said, you were able to, chop it up and continue to build that relationship with Phil Knight. Of course, he's got a plethora of knowledge within any industry across the board. So how did that relationship kind of develop, and kind of what were those like key takeaways that you were able to take from him?
I think one of the things that I really pride myself on is working hard and everybody seeing it, work in silence and let your success be your noise. And I really wanted to make sure that transition into the corporate life too. I was a champion on the field. Now it's time to be a champion off.
Yep.
And now, take my, not put everything on myself, kind of really, provide for others. I think that's one thing that he kind of really taught me. And then another one is, when you start to talk about me having a good relationship with Phil and all that, you would think that once I'm done playing football, I'll go straight to him and be like, Phil, I need a job. but I didn't
Right.
do it like that. I instead of coming through the back door, I came through the front door. I did interviews. I went to, obviously human resources to make sure that, a job that satisfies my needs on what I really wanted in the
Right.
in the in the industry, all of that. So I came through the front door and I did it right. Did a little intern and got an opportunity with the Jordan brand.
Awesome, man. And that's where we started to connect and build that relationship, which we had some fun, man. We made some things rock for sure.
We sure did.
We made some
Sure
things
did.
rock for sure. But no, that's awesome. I think there's some keys that you even just mentioned of just like some dedication and being resourceful and leveraging those relationships you have. Like that's important. As we look at what we're doing in this space and these different industries is just also being true to yourself. And I think that that's important and really something that you stand for, and it shows in how you carry yourself and how you've taken those keys from the game and leverage them as transition to help you transition accordingly. And I think that's really important for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any skills that you learned from playing the game that you're able to apply today in what you're doing, or even when you were at Nike and Jordan?
I just hard work. I mean, and just kind of like I say, just working in silence and let your success be the noise. I think when you talk about just sport, it's a camaraderie, right? It's a team effort. It's not an individual type thing as well. So obviously you have your part, but a whole collective unit makes the engine go.
Yep.
And I had an amazing team, and I work well within a group as well as individuals because I'm that competitive. I think just having that competitive edge, brought a lot from my transition for sure when working for the Jordan brand. I was a football specialist in football and baseball training there, and that's something that I love. Baseball and football. Are you
Yep.
kidding me? I still provide support in that and everything. So it all
Absolutely.
depends on how far the Jordan brand was willing to go. But I think one of my proudest moments there is really putting the jump man on the football field. Whether that's from a college standpoint or just kind of really getting individual athletes in the professional and as well as collegiate sports.
Yep.
I think that was one of my proudest moments there, just being part of that team and just kind of just seeing that moment was amazing.
Yep.
At Michigan.
Of course.
That was.
Yeah, man. Seeing an icon that you always gravitate. We grew up wearing them, so and then the evolution of it. So it was always basketball and and what MJ inspired, but beyond that, it was a strong culture. And obviously, it transcended into football and baseball and beyond. So, for that to also be a part of your story and the journey, going from nearly, runner up to a Heisman or Super Bowl championship, and now also have that in your pocket as well in your bag, like, that's incredible, bro. Like, for real. Like, super proud to be a friend of yours and just excited to see where the journey continues to go towards, man. So,
and I like I say, when you talk about power relationships and all that, by me, being working for the Jordan brand and all that and gaining those relationships and everything, I left Nike in 2018 to kind of really do my own thing.
yep.
I really wanted to hone in more on the performance side. I wanted to be hands-on. I
Yep.
wasn't the guy behind a desk.
Yeah. Hey, it happens to us all. We all start to figure it out.
Yeah. I quickly realized that an 8 to 5 was not it for me. I'm way too active. I still want to be part of this brand because I know that the impact that it can make from a grassroots standpoint is on, right?
Yep.
Just having a brand, just having that jump man on your chest. I mean, you in a elite group, if you will. And you don't take that lightly whatsoever, and to kind of really be associated with that and kind of provide, insight on that for the brand, I was definitely honored and humbled to kind of really do that.
Yep.
But I really want to continue doing that more so on the outside to be that independent contractor and kind of really be my own boss.
Right.
Or be my own
run the ship yourself, huh?
The way that I really wanted to. So transition from the corporate life to, kind of really overall being an entrepreneur. Where I am now in Dixon Fit Performance, I'm doing a lot of contracting work with the Jordan brand right now, and
Yep.
obviously people going through COVID right now. But they have a a a facility downtown LA, and they had me being a director of performance training there.
Nice.
The power of relationships and
Yep.
how it can definitely work in your favor. I'm definitely grateful and honored to kind of really be in that position and continue to, pay it forward.
Yep.
I think that's that's what my mission is right now. Kind of really be available for those who want it, even if you're not an athlete. The general pop too. I can
Yep.
say them too. It starts young, so I'm really
Definitely.
trying to kind of be available and show, what I've learned, and hopefully they can get to where I was, if not further. So
For
I'm
sure.
just trying to continue to push people every day, and that's where I'm at right now.
Love it, man. Like Dixon Fit, like what inspired that? Obviously, of course, being an athlete, but Dixon Fit is it's different. It's a community. It seems like. So tell me what inspired that and you to
I
drive
think,
that way.
yeah, I think what inspired Dixon Fit is that when people leave the sport that they play and all that, they tend to let themselves go. Life getting away, all of that. So I always wanted to change the narrative on that. I always wanted to kind of really be in the gym as much as possible. I think I learned a lot of that in my professional days for
Yep.
sure. On the gym part, never really about the eating. I ate anything and everything when
Yeah.
I was playing, but I wanted to change it up and switch it up and be like, hey, I want to be able to tell my story, after football. I'm more than just a football player, and I'm trying to show that on a daily basis. So my eating habits and obviously continue to change, continue to keep the workout regimen that I always had, that got me to the pinnacle level of football. I want to incorporate that with my eating right, and that's how Dixon Fit came into mind. I was actually working out with a couple of friends that I used to play football with, and I'm out here outworking them when in fact it was a complete opposite when we were playing football. In the
Wow.
gym, I was allergic to the gym. I did not want to go in the gym
Uh
anymore. But now you can't get me out of it now. So now it's funny how things work. So
Funny how
that's kind of
things
how
work. Yeah.
just kind of really bringing people together. Like I say, I'm always continuing to challenge myself, and I'm challenging others as well along the way. So that's how that came about.
I love it, man. I mean, really being inspired by the opportunities you've had from playing the game. But then also on the other side of this is like you hated the gym, but now you love it. And what you're doing is you're inspiring other people to continue that. Because I know, post my career playing overseas, coming back home, you get comfortable real quick.
Yeah,
You eating the same way that you were when you were an athlete, but you're not in the gym as 5 6 hours like you had to be, on the
correct.
court in practice. So you transition, you're like, man, I done gained this, and this COVID weight then came quick. So, but we getting
Right,
back in the
right.
gym, man. I might end up starting to do some of your challenges when I start seeing them pop back up on the Instagram.
Uh oh.
I might have to
Uh
send one.
oh.
I saw your way. A dude did a one-handed like on his side, so I'm gonna send that one over to you.
All the way
Nah, for
down to
sure.
7.
Love it. So, man, what would you tell your younger self and to those younger uh, listeners to the podcast? What would you tell yourself and give that advice that you tell them?
Uh, the best advice that I would tell is like, continue to keep your options open. I know that everyone is couldn't really center down to one sport. I say play them all if you can until
Yep.
you have to make that decision. Continue to be active. Um, put yourself in the people that you want to put yourself around. Surround like I said, the camps and all that. Put yourself in the best of the best at all times and see where you measure up. Um, that continue to have fun and be patient and
Yeah.
just trust the process.
Love it, man. Love that. Be patient, trust the process. So tell me this: you've been training Dixon Fit. You're working with the big brands out in LA and working with other trainers and clients and things like that. So what's next? What's next on the docket for you?
That's funny. I think I really want to continue to own my own gym one day. To continue to have Dixon Fit performance around here in Portland. Seeing what I did at the University of Oregon, my name still travels a lot, which I'm totally grateful, humble for.
Yep.
Um, by putting my stamp on just the whole Nike culture too, I feel as if I got a good relationship and good rapport around here in this community as well. So I think it goes hand in hand, just kind of really fit those two together, and have a gym of my own here, and have a team of my own because I can only go so far. But
Yep.
having a team, getting comfortable with that, continue to travel, continue to work with world class athletes as well as general population and the youth.
Yep.
I think that's my main things right there. And I think me satisfying me and being a well-rounded trainer, being the youth, general population, the community, obviously that elite athlete, that's my bread and butter. But I want to get into that entertainment world too, and
Love
start
it.
traveling with the best of the best.
Yep.
Having one of those Kevin Hart's under my belt
There you go.
won't be. And I think it's only a matter of time. Like I said, I mentioned patience. Like what the Jordan brand brought to me and what I've been exposed to, life after football is amazing. Just continue to work with, like I say, world class athletes from a grassroots standpoint and on. So I'm around them. It's all about landing one of them.
Yep.
To continue to gain that relationship and that rapport as well.
Absolutely. No, for sure. I think you're doing it right. I think your journey has allowed for you to understand the importance of patience, the importance of goal setting, and making sure you manifest exactly what it is that you want to get after. So I wish you nothing but the best. As you know, I'm a fan of yours. I'm your homie. I'm going to always be a resource for you to make things happen. I just want to see my people win. And that's what we out here doing for sure. And I really appreciate you telling your story and sharing with our listeners. Where can they, keep up with you if they got questions? If some celebrities want to reach out to schedule their next Dixon Fit session, where can they hit you at?
I see what you did there, Jabari. I like that for sure. You can contact sure on Instagram. DROOP 10 Droop 10, and then as well as email. You can catch me at Dennis@DixonFit.com.
Love it, man. No, I'm excited, man.
Guys, but I appreciate you again for having me on, Jabari.
Absolutely, my dude. Always. I'm glad. Hopefully, soon we'll be able to all get together and do this in person and really get to, share our stories with even a broader sense. So, really appreciate you being on episode 2. For all those listening, make sure you hit on all different platforms. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, as well as follow us on social media on Instagram and Twitter at Second Half Podcast. Be sure to check us here at YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We'll make sure we put all your information at the bottom of this as well, Dennis. So really appreciate you, my dude. Thank you. Love, bro. Peace.